Hello, my name is Arthur, and in this video we're going to have a look at a moving platform and a new tile that I put in. So I have a functioning platform, and instead of trying to type out the script for that, which I'm just learning myself, so typing that out like I'm a teacher is doesn't really seem like the thing to do to me. So I'm just going to show the script and explain the platform as best as I can and how it works and how to set it up in a level. And how it's not quite working entirely with the player. And we'll have a look at how some of the graphics were made, the new graphics. So first off, we'll just run and get an idea for what we have going here. So that's an ice ramp, so he runs like he's on ice because that is in the ice tile map. Right now the limitation on the platform is the player can't jump when he's going up. He'll just lock up. When he's at the top or the platform's going down, he can jump. But when the platform is going up and he tries to jump, he's just going to lock up. I have an idea where that's happening, and I can probably just tell the game that he's on a platform to resolve it. And make an exception for the fact that he's on a platform. So the idea with the ice ramp is a platform and a stunt to go somewhere you can't get otherwise. So you can't get up to this place in any other fashion. So that's kind of the idea there, and the second part of the idea would be to make a hidden switch to turn the platform on. So maybe a little puzzle to find the switch or push a block on top of it. To do block pushing, there needs to be some graphics changes. A tile to make an angle in a corner, or just a block in a corner would work, because you can see I've changed the size of the block so that it can't get stuck behind a tile map block so easily. And the other issue with the platform is I need some sort of solution for the area underneath the platform. And I'm thinking like a spike pit. So if the player goes here, he dies. And that would avoid that from happening. Because he just got squished through the floor. And he's either falling right now, or he's stuck in between this level and this level somewhere over here. But what I actually expect happened was he got squished in between and flew out here and then just started falling. And that's why the camera did that. Or he got stuck in the floor right here in the end. So that's what I have for the platform. Let's have a look at how it's built. The platform is a Node 2D, and that's where the script is attached. Then it's a kinematic body, a sprite, a collision shape, a tween, and a position 2D. So that's its pieces. I have the kinematic body set to sync to physics, and that seems to be working okay. When I turned it on, it didn't actually seem to make much difference. But I think in the tutorials that I've read, it advises turning that on for one reason or another. But the tutorials were actually, they were 3.1 tutorials and not 3.22. So the script for the platform is also pretty short. The thing with typing it out is what I'm doing with this myself is I've copied this out of the documentation. So I'm learning out of the documentation how to do this. What I'm thinking is that tween start, um, this stuff can happen at the point where the a button is triggered. So maybe the entire outfit would get attached to another scene, a button scene, and then the button and platform would work together or something like that. I haven't actually resolved the button yet, but it will look something like that. So in the script, we have an export variable for the length of pause. So that's the pause that it takes in between each cycle of going up and down. It has a 2-second pause and a 2-second pause. And then time is an export variable because it will vary depending on how high or how far the platform is traveling, because the time is the amount of time to take to go from one position to the next. So the other two variables are the move to variable and the home variable. This could be listed as a vector too as well, because it is. On ready, those two variables are given values. The position 2D will be moved somewhere, and that's the destination, whereas home is the location of the kinematic body. So we just assign the position of the kinematic body, and when we add the platform to the layer, we also give a position to the position 2D. So when the program runs, that position is made the variable and it goes to that position. Then in this function, what's happening is it's getting the tween node. We set the interpolate property. What that means is the kinematic body is what we're applying the interpolation to. We're changing its position. It's going to go from the position of home to the position of move to the destination node 2D. Time, the length of time that it takes to get from A to B. This is the interpolation, translinear, and the best I can tell, the only way to do it is with translinear. And then the ease, we just choose ease in and ease out as the most common choice for easing in interpolation. And then the last one here is the amount of time it pauses. And then the second instance here is when we're defining coming back. So this goes to the node 2D and this one goes back to home. And that's pretty much what's changed. We flipped around home and moved to into the start and end positions. And then the next change is we have the pause added to time plus time, and that gives this needs to be here so that this doesn't, the pause that it takes to start doing this has to be greater than the amount of time it spends doing this. So I just made it time plus time, but it could be time plus time times a float, like 0.3. Just something that's greater than time. I just use time plus time because I find it cleaner. The duration that it spends sitting at a place isn't a very big deal. So the next thing we'll do is we'll have a look at how to set a platform up in the scene. So basically what we do is we grab the platform scene, drop it in there. We click on it to set it to have editable children. The platform itself is what will move, And let's zoom back, put on snapping so that it goes somewhere neat. And we'll just set that one up over here. We can experiment also with this one. So maybe we'll experiment with not having it go straight up and down. So the next thing we would do is move the position 2D. Now let's use a transform to do that. Let's get it to go on a 45-degree angle. So let's try moving it X 600 and Y minus 600. So that should move on kind of a diagonal. And I haven't tried this. This is an experiment myself. Then let's say a pause time of 2 and a duration of 6. And we're just guessing a time, like we would probably need to adjust that to our taste as by checking out how it works in a level. So let's just try that one out and see how an angled moving platform works. So that looks like it's working good and pretty easy to set up that way. Like this is a pretty easy setup for this kind of thing. So yeah, that's pretty satisfactory. For making the artwork, this is pretty basic. The block was simply opened in GIMP. I extended the canvas to 3 times the size and used a snapping grid of 64 pixels to copy 3 copies into perfect locations. Then for this graphic, we'll just undo that and get an idea for how that was done. So let's just control select all cut. Now what I did was I used the ellipse tool set to circle, so fixed 1 to 1. And I have snapping enabled. This is a 256 by 256 canvas. So I just start at a corner and it will snap to the corner. Oops, I started at the wrong corner. I start at a corner. I don't pull it quite to the edge to leave a little bit of thickness there. Then select invert. So invert the selection, edit, fill with the color. Then we come into image, canvas size. We're going to increase the width by 128, 1/2 of its current length. This chain is broken, so we just go plus 128, resize. Then we pick the rectangle select tool. It has not got rounded corners or feathered edges or any fixed ratio, but we do have snap to grid enabled. We select this portion of it, copy, paste, tools, transform, rotate, and the rotation value for that is minus 90. That's counterclockwise is minus 90. So we rotate it, use the move tool, anchor that layer, and then I did a little bit of extra drawing a path similar to the way I did it in the other ice block, so it kind of matches up and had that wavy line thing. That's a little time consuming to do and some pretty basic editing. So this is basically exactly the shape. When it comes to the tile, It's not exactly very complicated either. Can see I used polygon, and I just put enough points to contour it nicely. Um, this graphic is 256 by, what was it, 256 by 384. It doesn't really matter, like what happens with it as a tile is, well, where its placement square is a little wonky, and it can be placed on every square. So that doesn't exactly work, right? You kind of have to use it with use it by eye the way that it's meant to be used, but you could abuse it if you wanted and draw it in places that make it impossible. So we could probably conceivably draw one. No, that wouldn't work. We would have to reverse it and jump in the other direction. Anyways, I figure that explains the graphic. This block, I just made it larger. I scaled up the sprite and changed the size of the collision shape. And I did that so if it got pushed up against a block, it could still be freed and wouldn't be so prone to getting stuck. So to prevent stuff like that from getting stuck, I would put a block in the corners and things like that in the event that this is a necessary piece. Maybe make it so that it can't go into an area like this. This area, I'll be looking at coming back with a graphic or an idea for a spike pit or a pit that causes the player instant death so that if he goes underneath in the zone underneath a moving platform, he can't get squished through the board and cause that particular exception. So we'll just make him die instead. So yeah, hopefully all that explanation was clear and it wasn't too much all at once. In the next video, we'll come back with some kind of a switch and some solution to get the player jumping while the platform is going upwards. And until then, take care.